So this is how I approach oils in general in conversation is so most of the time people are coming to me from two camps, very ill, chronic disease, or they're the worried well, and they want to make sure that they're doing okay, and that's okay. And sometimes my worried well are very fat phobic to a degree that it can actually be harmful. And so I think there's been a widespread wording in the plant-based community that you should only have low fat. You have to have low fat. Low fat's the only way. But then people come to me fatigued, they're tired, and a lot of things can be occurring. I will say, even with my own experience, when I first went plant-based 12 years ago, I went to a very low fat restrictive diet like that, and I didn't feel well. And for me not to be like, let's go get something done is weird. And so I was like, what is going on? And so, I added healthy fats back to my diet. It wasn't in the form of oil, but nuts and seeds, avocados, and I felt great again. So like, okay, that's an important piece. There's omega-3s that are involved with these nuts and seeds. There's wonderful things. Now, where I do provide caution is liquid fat, like cooking oils. They're very high calorie dense foods, right? So this is where most of my patients require weight loss. We're dealing with insulin resistance. We're dealing with a bunch of things that it's very easily absorbed, even if it's good, considered like olive oil, which is considered a healthy oil. It doesn't help me with my weight loss situation that I'm trying to help someone. But I'll say, instead of doing the liquid fat, let's go for, a handful of nuts and seeds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, whatever you like, ground flax, hemp seeds, looking for getting added benefit, not just the fat component. Now, if they want a little bit of fat with, a dressing or something, let's how can we incorporate those whole foods, so you get the fiber and the micronutrients and everything else that comes along with it. Now, if I have someone who's young and healthy and they want to use oils in particular for cooking or dressings, I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But we want to be very mindful about what type of oils we are using. And I'll let you take it from there. But I typically reserve, saying try to stay away from like coconut oil just because of the high saturated fats. I'm dealing with patients typically with cardiac disease, like I said, insulin resistance. So these are just things that I don't want them adding back into their diet. But from the gut point, I'd love to hear what you say on that.
I'll comment really. I'll let you take it over, but the data's there, right? And I think it's just not in plain sight of going like, yeah, fat in general and too much hyper refined fat. But really, I like to talk first and foremost about the gallbladder, right? So we're seeing the gallbladder of 2.4 million just Americans a year being removed, and this is directly related to the amount of hyper refined fats you're eating, right? So it could be in a tortilla chip that's deep fried. It could be in that steak from a sick cow. It could be all the cheese, or it could be refined oil that you're cooking with.
Or in a dessert.
Or in a dessert that's full of just refined fats and oils, and even sugar. If you're getting excess refined sugar, turns into fat, right? Triglycerides in the liver. So adding this context, this isn't to say go fat free like the message was in the 80s and 90s and just take out all the fat, just never eat fat. No, it's the type of fat, and it will have a direct impact on the gut. I'll let you kind of take it from there.
And that's where I think that word is key, just hyper refined as well. And liquid oils tend to be hyper refined. Again, not saying that we're always telling people don't eat oil at all. If somebody, it fits well within their caloric needs of the day and they feel well having high omega-3 oils like olive oil or avocado oil in moderation, then there's no data that shows that that's detrimental to their health. There's actually some data to show that can be a little bit conducive to absorbing fat soluble vitamins and decreasing inflammation and things like that. But I think when it comes to these oils, right, when we're talking about high omega-6 oils like soybean oil, sunflower oil, palm kernel oil, where are you even finding that? Usually it's in a food anyways. So
foods, yep.
Yes. So I really don't think that that's the focus. It's not necessarily the oil. It's who's the medium to carry the oil into your body anyways. That can be your overall gut health or your overall health.